Screws off. And it looks a little worn. I have to flatten that back out. I could flip it over. So I'm going to try to see if I can modify this spring, because it does have a little hook right here, so when I put it here I can stretch it down to this point. But first I'm going to clean up more of this oily sawdust. So I was too focused on cleaning out these vents to videotape, but I probably did almost 3/4 of a cup loosely packed of this sawdust oil that was just caked all up in these vents in here. I'm surprised this thing even worked, but well, let's press on, get this cleaned up so I can get this put back together. So I pretty much got it all cleaned up. I'm not going to paint the saw itself because I want to leave the character on it. The word Skilsaw, though, I think I'm going to paint that in black, so that'll be like my one finishing touch that I did for it. I just need to clean up this bottom plate here. So where I just did a little bit of cleaning, it's a little shinier than the rest, so I'll get it cleaned up. Got that red stuff off, whatever it was. So I'm going to take out the screws and drop them in some evaporust just to get the rust off them. I don't know if I'll paint them or not. I'm going to take a look once they come out of the evaporust. I was using a number 2 on here and it was camming out, so I'm going to use a Phillips number 3 on these. This is a long one. Oop. This is a little bent. Let's see if we can fix it. So I've been on the fence about painting. This could actually be called a fence, or the Skilsaw name, because I'm going to leave all the character of the saw, but this part I was unsure of. But because I'm putting a new cord on and cleaning up all the bolts, I think I'm going to go ahead and do it. I talked to one of my friends, Mark. He does tool restoring as well, and he said just do what makes you happy. So I am going to repaint in where it says Skilsaw, but leave everything else the same. I'm going to use the Sharpie oil-based paint pens like I did on the that Co's Vice restoration my son and I did together. It's basically just coloring in with a Sharpie almost. So some of the videos I was watching, they say when you change the oil to have the engine running, so I've been running it for a little bit. I did buy a new gasket. Hopefully it's the right size for this plug, because it does look a little worn. And then I'm going to replace this gasket over here. I did buy this gasket for this piece, but I haven't had any oil leaking or anything, so it's a paper gasket for that one, so I'll leave that one alone. If I do run into a problem down the road, I'll just change it out because I have the gasket. Thought I'd need more force to take that off. Let's take a look inside. See if I can get a flashlight in there. I can see it, but I don't know whether you guys can. It looks pretty dry in there. I mean, it's wet, but it's definitely low on oil. So we'll fix that here. Now this gasket is definitely smaller than this one. Yeah, this is like a flat gasket. This is the one I ordered online. Should fit. Maybe it's just the newer version. Let's see if there's any oil in here to drain out. Maybe not. It's a good thing I rescued this thing then. I'm going to let it sit like this because it is cold. Oh, there it is. This is very thick. Alright. Let's see about propping this up somehow. Now, as you can see, not much oil came out. You know, move it back and forth so you can kind of see. Now, I don't know if this is kind of like an automobile. I mean, I smelled the oil. I didn't smell anything burnt, but it did not have enough oil in this thing at all. So let's before I fill it up, I'm going to change the gasket that's on the other side here. So this is kind of gummy. I was wondering why this gasket had the protrusion in it. This is the model number if anybody needs this part. I was wondering why this gasket had a protrusion, and now that I can see inside, maybe this rubber piece pushes up against that drive shaft to keep it oiled. I'm thinking that's maybe why they have this gasket like that. Oop. Guess I squirted it in too fast. I'll go slower. So I hand tighten this and then just a little bit more. When I can't remember if I said this or not already, but when I put the rubber gasket on here, I did coat it with oil. I was treating it kind of like when you change out the oil filter on a car, just to keep that little bit of oil on the gasket there. So let's see if I can remember how to put this thing back together again. Now, this is the old hood, and screws are kind of hard to get to. Actually, I think I got to them from this side. and then it just had the one screw hole here. On the new one, it has these two pegs that replace those screws, so all I need to do is just the one screw there. Interesting. This particular screw is still sort of difficult to get because you can't go in straight, so just got to be careful I don't strip it out. Yep. So this is going to be my least favorite part of this, trying to figure out. I don't want to use the old one because it wasn't working as well, spring for the guard, and on all the sites this is the new replacement, and it doesn't have the same end, but in here it does have the little curve, which is similar to that, and I just don't know how this is going to work. I'll probably use some locking needle nose pliers, but so I've got to get the one piece wrapped around this part right here, and then the other piece through this hole down here. So not looking forward to this part. So I'll show you how I did it. I had to loosen up this top guard here in order to get this wrapped around. So I wrapped it around clockwise. Then I used the needle nose pliers and just took that tip out and put it there. It is all the way through. It does seem to be working. I'll hold on to the old one and still research online just to see if I can find an old one. I still need to put this locking clip in here, but it is working right now. So now that I've got that locking clip in there, it's working good. Hopefully it won't pop out, but we'll see. Well, it's all completed. I just need to put on a blade. This was the blade I bought for it, and now looking at it, it says for finish work, but I need to use this to cut some pressure treated plywood and decking, so I could possibly use that for the top part of the decking since it'll be thinner boards. This blade did come with it, and just has a little surface rust on it, but it never been used because that still has the knockout in here, so I'll use this for cutting the pressure treated 2x4s. Thanks for watching, and maybe I'll do a video of me using this saw when I'm building the ground level deck.